Welcome back, everybody. This is our third Harmony Yoga online video. Today, I've got a yin yang class for you guys. And this is kind of like a little bit of a flow and a little bit of a deep stretch at the very end. So it's a nice blended class that should be accessible for all levels. Props today, I'm sitting on a blanket. If you don't have a blanket, I specifically brought a towel. Because we're definitely going to use this today. If you don't have a blanket, towels are a fantastic substitution. I've got some blocks today. You may or may not want those. And your strap or substitute strap. You don't have to have a sparkly scarf. You can have a winter scarf. Just have this handy just in case you need it later on. So to begin today, we're going to go ahead and start lying down on our backs. So however that sounds comfortable for you. You can use your blanket or your towel, whatever you've got. And I'm feeling today I might want a little bit of a pillow, so that's how I'm going to use mine. And sometimes what you feel like doing really changes once you get down here and start closing your eyes. And you realize, you know what, actually my head is fine, but my hips are feeling kind of firm on the ground. Or, you know what, I'd really like to have my legs long, but I want them to be a little bit more soft, a little bit more arched. So you can always take your blanket and roll it up under your knees or your towel, whatever you have available. So for today, just kind of shift the distance between your heels, between your hands and your body, and just see if you can take up as much space as you need to feel really easeful here against the earth. It's nice here that we don't have to confine ourselves to the mat area. You can open up a bit and take up room and really give yourself the space you need to feel open and easy and relaxed. So as you begin to soften down into your shape for today, you can just play with your breathing. Pay attention first to how it comes and goes. And I would say give yourself a minute or two to really just observe the breath. Begin to cultivate this awareness of kind of your inner landscape. How does the breath feel when you're not changing it or adjusting it at all? Does the breath feel smooth or does it feel a little coarse? Does it feel rough or rocky or smooth and silky? Is there a tight turnaround between the inhalation and the exhalation, or is there a nice leisurely gap in between? None of these things are particularly good or bad. It's just more to draw attention to the fact that breath can have many different qualities and allow you to really begin to observe what qualities that you feel in your breath today. And as you deepen the breath, do those qualities change at all? Sometimes with the slowing down of your flow, the breath evens out, so it's not quite as blocky or sharp in its transitions. As you deepen and lower the breath, can you shape the breath to be more balanced both on the inhale and the exhale? Can you deliberately choose how you want the breath to be experienced within your body? Not too deep, not too full, but just a comfortably longer, enjoyable flow. Take 3 to 5 breaths here. Everybody's comfortable length of breath is different. Finish your last breath. And let the rhythm of the breath drift back to something that's more natural. So there's no structure to it. Just comes back to that high and light and simple rhythm that you experienced in the very beginning without even trying. As you come back to that, notice if the texture or the qualities of your breath have changed at all. Maybe it's a little bit more smooth or a little bit more calm than it was before. Maybe the transitions are a little bit more seamless between inhales and exhales. You can take a moment if you want to move your fingers and toes just to awaken the outer edges of your body. And as you start to feel a little warmer, you can go ahead and bend your knees, put your feet on the ground. And once you get here, you can allow yourself to move towards an upright seat. Whatever that looks like for you, don't think about it too much. Just let your body kind of lift and transition. Maybe pad your seat with that blanket or even that towel as you rise up, just to make yourself a little bit more comfortable when you get here. Let the legs cross for a moment. And we're going to go ahead and put our hands on our knees or on our thighs. And as you breathe in, you can puff the heart up and let the shoulders slide down the back a bit. Lift your chin gently up towards the sky. And then bring your chin down, tuck it towards the hollow of your throat, draw your shoulders forward and your belly button back. So we're arching our back in two different directions. Breathe in, arch your back so your heart lifts, your shoulders fall, and your gaze rises. And then arch your back so your head lowers and your shoulders draw forward, kind of like you're slumping. Do that a couple more times. Breathe in. And as you move through the seated cat-cow a few times, notice the qualities of your breathing here. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in motion and physical activity that we forget there is internal activity as well. How's the quality of your breathing as you shift through these spaces? So maybe one more time. Moving with the quality of your breath to inhale, look up. And exhale, curl down. And after you curl down, come back to a neutral spine, straight and tall, and bring your hands together in front of your heart. Now from here, use your inhalation as smooth and as steady as you would like to lift your palms up above your head. And exhale, open your arms down wide, let them cascade on either side of you, palms together. And inhale, lift the palms up overhead. Exhale, nice and wide in an easy circle. Let's do two more of these. We're really just rotating the shoulders and softening the muscles in that area. So last one, do a complete cycle all the way up. Exhale all the way down. And this time as you inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Separate the palms and slow the descent. End up with the arms at shoulder height with the thumbs up and the palms pointed forward. So take a breath in here. And as you exhale, wrap your arms across your chest, shoulder to shoulder, tuck your chin and round your back like you're giving yourself a hug. Inhale, sit up. Puff your heart, spread your arms, lift your chin. Exhale, draw your chin down, cross your arms, round the shoulders forward. So let's do this a couple more times. Breathing in and opening the arms. Let's switch the cross of the arms. Exhale, left arm on top as you tuck and round. Inhale, separate the arms, sit up, open wide. Exhale, right arm on top, round. And hug. Two more, one more for each side. So inhale, open. Left arm on top, curl up, sink it low. Inhale, nice and wide. And exhale, right arm on top. Good. Inhale, open wide, sit tall, and relax your arms down alongside you. Now, you're going to want to grab those blocks that I told you to have in the beginning, and we're going to put the blocks low on either side of your hips. You're going to keep them kind of flat and pull them back towards your hips more than your knees here. If you don't have blocks, a nice way to kind of get around this, especially if you have shorter arms or a longer torso and you can't reach the ground, is to make some fists. That'll give you a few extra inches. So do the best you can here. And it's more of the action of what we're doing here that's going to get you to where we want to be than like the height of your hands. So with palms on the blocks or fists on the earth, breathe in nice and deep. And as you exhale, press your fists or hands down into the ground and see if you can hover your seat a little bit, even if it's just a sliver. It's not so much about getting your hips up as it is pulling your shoulders down. And then go ahead and soften your elbows and let your seat touch the earth again. We're going to do that twice more. Breathe in. Exhale, press down, let your hips hover a bit. If you're on a blanket, hips aren't going to get that high. That's okay. Go ahead and put your hips down and soften the elbows. So last time, press down. Feel like you're drawing the elbows away from the earlobes here, and then relax to the ground. As you settle back down on the ground, inhale, sweep your left arm up over your head, and go ahead and bring that hand to cup your outer right knee. Slide your right hand off the block and towards the earth behind you. Now, as you tap your fingertips on the ground behind you, it's going to be nice to keep just your fingertips on the ground like you're tenting your palm. That's going to keep a really nice arch in your wrist, which should feel really good after pressing down into your flat palms. So turn your gaze gently over your back shoulder. Just take a few breaths here and get the belly to wrap in on itself like you're buckling a seatbelt across your abdomen. And then go ahead and come back to center. One more time, hands to blocks or fists. So keep the elbows kind of swinging back alongside the edges of your waistline. Breathe in first. Exhale is going to give us the strength we need to press down, lift up. Then inhale, hips down. And exhale, press. Shoulders draw down, nice long neck. Inhale, sit. And exhale, last time, rise up. Good. Inhale, sit. And sweep your right arm up, arch it over your head, cup the outer left knee, and slide the left fingertips off to the mat behind you. Again, keep that kind of tenting action here so you have that arch of your wrists. Take a breath in and exhale, wrap that tummy inwards. Take another breath here. And then when you're ready, come back to face front. You can put the blocks to the side. All done with them for now. Lean back on your hands and stretch your legs out towards the front of the room. Now, as you stretch your legs out to the front of the room, turn your fingertips to face forward so that your elbows point back. And as you inhale, point your toes, press into your palms, puff your heart, and lower your head down towards that space between your shoulder blades a little bit. And exhale, lift your head up, draw your chin down, sink your belly in, and draw your toes back. Inhale, toes forward, heart up, head lowers. Exhale, chin tucks, heart softens, toes draw back. We'll do 2 more of those. So inhale, toes point, chest and head looking up. Exhale, toes in and bow to your heart. Let's do a last one here. Inhale, toes, heart, head. Exhale, head, heart, toes. Good. Come back to an easeful, resting, neutral place. I want you to bend your left knee up, put your left foot flat on the ground. Open your left knee to the side and place the ankle right over your kneecap. Now, when you get here, before we do anything else, spin the fingertips to point towards the wall behind you. So now the underside of your wrist is facing forward. That should feel pretty nice just to change that trajectory. So focus on that far foot, that right foot, and bend the bottom knee and slide the right heel closer to your sit bone so the legs lift and draw closer towards your stomach. Now, if this is a lot, you can always keep the angle of the lower leg a little longer, a little softer. The closer to your sit bones the heel comes, the deeper the stretch, especially here in the left hip. So press your palms down, flex your top toes back, puff your heart, and lift your gaze towards the sky. So the upper body is very similar to what we were doing before when we were flowing on our breathing. So take a breath here. You can even softly close your eyes if you want. Last breath. Open the eyes, soften the chin down, look forward, and stretch that bottom leg out long. And as you stretch the bottom leg flat, lift the left knee, put the left foot down to the outside of your straight leg, and walk your hands up so there's no weight on them anymore. Right hand cups your shin, turn your shoulders over towards the left, and let the left fingers tent back behind you if you'd like here. It's nice to fluctuate between that flat palm and the tented palm. Flat palm, no really arch in the wrist. Tented palm, you bring that arch back. So it's going to help to balance itself out. Last breath. And exhale, turn back to center. You can bring both hands to that raised knee if you want and bring the foot back where it belongs. So we're going to switch sides here. So go ahead and raise your right knee. Stretch your left leg out in front of you. Lean back on your hands and spin your fingertips to point behind you. Open that bent knee, pick up the ankle, and cross it right above your kneecap. So focus on that far foot now and slide the left heel back towards your sit bones till the foot flattens. Again, you can have a long angle. And if you have a long angle, you're welcome to kind of lift your toes if it's more comfortable for you here. Whenever you're ready, press down through your palms, lift your heart, lift your gaze, and flex your right foot. Breathe deeply into your heart here. You've got a lot of space as you arch your back like this. Feel like you're broadening across the line of your collarbones, filling up broadly. Last breath. Flutter your eyelids open, look forward, soften your top foot, and slide that bottom foot back out until it's straight and long. Lift that top knee, put the foot down, walk your hands back so there's no weight on them anymore. Left hand to the shin, turn your shoulders sideways over towards the right, and let those right fingertips rest lightly on the ground behind you. Good. Make sure you're drawing your belly a little bit backwards towards your spine and a little bit upwards towards your chin. That's going to make you feel a lot longer and taller as you do that. So take a final breath. And exhale, come on back to center, face forward. So you can uncross that top foot, bend both knees up, and we're going to roll over to hands and knees right now. So we're going to come to tabletop. So lift your hips and shift in any way you want, with or without a blanket under your knees, depending on, again, your foundation. Rugs, carpets, you don't need so much extra support. But then again, maybe you do. So listen to your body, listen to your knees for today. Hands under your shoulders, knees under hips, toes pointing back, fingers pointing forward. Breathe in, lift your tailbone, lift the crown of your head and let the belly stretch out in between the head and hips. Exhale, tuck the chin, curl the tailbone under, let the back arch in between the two. Inhale, hips up, head draws back. Exhale, head comes down as hips curl forward. We're going to do 2 more of those at least. Breathe in. Again, here it helps to focus on these fluctuating movements, on the quality of your breathing. So maybe do 1 extra cat-cow here, just so you can focus on how the breath feels, because that'll influence how the movement expresses itself. So last time, go ahead and look forward. And last time, round the belly button up, arch the back. Go ahead and come back to your flat tabletop spine. And as you're ready here, we're going to turn the toes under so the heels stand up. Now, if your wrists are feeling a little fatigued, I have no problem if you want to make fists and turn your fingernails to point towards one another. Or if you're fine, you can always stay here. But no matter what, I want you to focus on the quality of your breathing. So take a big breath in, slow and steady. And as you exhale, pick your knees up off the ground, maybe an inch. It doesn't have to be much, but breathe all your breath out with the knees hovering. There's a pause after your exhale. Set your knees down in the pause and breathe in here. We're going to do that twice more. So exhale, hover your knees. Long, slow, steady breath out. Find that pause. Set the knees down and inhale. Last time, press through your hands, press through your knuckles, get the knees to elevate, expel all the old air. Find that moment of stillness in between exhale and inhale. Set the knees down, breathe deep. Good. Untuck your toes. Let the toes point towards the back of the room. Uncurl your fists. Let the fingers point towards the front of the room. And last time, we're going to inhale, lift the tailbone and crown. And exhale, draw the tailbone and nose towards one another. Let your hips lower back towards your feet. Come into a child's pose with the body softening over the kneecaps. Head to the mat, arms nice and soft. Take a moment to breathe here. Feel all strain, all stress, drain away from your body. And staying here in our forward fold, just slide your right hand towards the right edge of your mat. If you want to pick up your head and watch it, there's no problem with that. Put your left hand on top like you're making a sandwich. And then bow your head and let your ears dangle in between your biceps. Take 1 more full breath into the left edge of your body. And then slide your left palm all the way across to the left edge of your mat and let your right palm have a turn to sit on top. Soften the head, soften the neck. Take 2 big breaths here and bring that space into the right edge of your body this time. Long and slow. Go ahead and bring your hands back to center. And let the wrists align with your shoulders, palms forward enough so that the elbows are lifted and straight. Go ahead and come up onto your knees, toes under just like we did before, but this time we're going to lift up into down dog. So bring your knees up about 18 inches, maybe even 12, and then press through your hands like you're resisting the earth. Feel your hips magnetize towards the back wall, and then you can relax a little bit of weight through your heels, as long as you don't round your spine. You can always pedal your feet here, kind of press one heel down as you lift one up, and then switch it off to the other side. Feels kind of nice to release some tightness in the back of your calves for a moment. And then come back to your center and reach those hips back a little extra. And then step your feet up towards your palms. And as you rest on the soles of your feet, soften your knees nice and deep and let your head dangle. With all the wrist stuff we've been doing, it might be nice to kind of rotate your wrists, make little fists, or even shake it out a little bit, loosen up. And as you feel better here, you can go ahead and let your hips sink down lower behind you so the bend of the knees becomes a little bit more apparent. Reach your arms back behind you, thumbs point open. Keep the legs in the same shape, but hinge the upper body off the shelf of the thighs. Press the heels down, reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and then go ahead and bring your arms back around so the palms meet in front of your heart. So from here, let's retrace those steps. Rise up, hands high. Exhale, open your arms, and with a softness in your knees, hinge forward like you're gliding outwards before you sink and soften downwards over your toe tips. Good. From here, step your right foot back, toes can tuck under, and bring your right knee down to the ground. Now again, if your ground is kind of firm, you can tuck a blanket or your towel under your knee. Toes can point towards the back if you're comfortable, or stay curled under. So from here, go ahead and climb your hands up to the shelf of your thigh and bring your shoulders back over your hips. Now, usually we go for a little bit of an alignment where your heel is straight up and down under your knee. For today, you might want to have your heel just a little bit out in front of your knee, say like an inch tops. All right, so bring your hands up by your shoulders so the palms face the same direction as your gaze. Your thumbs are going to be by your shoulder edges. Breathe in here, and as you exhale, lean forward a bit. Your knee may glide forward a bit, and press your palms out like you're pushing the wall away from you. Take a hold of that invisible object, flip your palms to the sky, and pull your elbows and shoulders back until you're standing upright once more. Palms in stop signs, and press and lean. Grab your invisible object, flip the palms up, and bend the elbows to bring the shoulders back. Working our push and pull muscles today. Let's do one more. Push as you exhale. Grab, rotate, and pull. So that's a good 3 there. Soften your arms down, sweep your arms up. Maybe at your apex here, you circle your wrists or wiggle your fingers, and then bring the palms straight down in front of you so the fingers tap the mat. So from here, curl your toes under in the back. You're going to lift the back knee up, and you're going to spin the toes towards the right edge of your mat so the heel can flatten to the side. Lift your palms up, and you're going to come into warrior 2 standing sideways. You're going to open your arms front to back. Now, just so you have a better visual, I'm going to switch sides so you can see how this looks. So heels in a line, back toes may be tipping forward to the top of your mat a little bit. Let your arms open, let your front knee bend towards your pinky toenail. So take a breath here. And as you exhale, kind of press your shoulders down away from your ears, just a smidgen, not so much that you feel a strain, but just enough that you get the length in your neck back. Okay, so as you're ready, turn your left palm up towards the ceiling. Sweep the arm up towards the sky. Bend your elbow and pat yourself on the back. Sometimes it's the back of the neck, sometimes it's the upper back, sometimes it's more of the shoulder, but let your hand land on your body. Flip the back palm up to the sky. Sweep that arm up overhead and maybe take hold of your elbow. Good, and you can hug that elbow a little bit towards the crown of your head to really get a nice stretch. So make sure you're breathing here. As things get more complicated in our upper body, I always realize that I start to lose connection with my lower body. So make sure that knee is still bending a little bit, open towards your pinky toe. Take maybe one breath here. In and out, full and complete. And as you're ready to inhale next, stretch both hands up towards the ceiling. Straighten the bent knee and bring the hands all the way down. Full circle to rest on your hips. Nice. All right, so turn your front toes to point towards the corner of the mat. Turn your back toes to point towards their corner of the mat. So as you breathe in here, sweep your arms back up to where they were a moment ago, palms facing forward like you're giving me high fives, double high fives. Breathe in, lengthen up, and as you exhale, bend your knees and your elbows wide towards the shorter ends of the mat. We're going to do that twice more. So inhale, straight legs, straight arms. And exhale, bend it using our pull muscles here. Yes. Okay, so last time. Breathe and exhale. Keep the knees where they are, but swing the elbows closed in front of your heart, palms closed in front of your head. This is such a nice thing here because maybe you can lean your forehead onto your thumbs. And breathe deeply to that space between the shoulder blades. Let's do one more breath like that. If you want to lift your elbows up a little bit, it'll stop your head from bowing forward so much. Yes. And the next time you're ready to breathe in, you can inhale, straighten your knees. Reach your arms up. Exhale, full circle. Find your hips. Once you're back to your hips, look at your back toes. Spin those right toes to point towards the long edge of your mat, and spin the left toes to point out towards the short edge of your mat again. All right, hands to hips here. Glue your front foot. Make sure your kneecap tracks down the center line between like the second and third toes here. Open your arms out. And I want you to bump your right hip back as you slide your left fingertips forward. Bring the top hand down to rest on your straight leg. And the top arm will come up maybe to about shoulder height or a little bit lower is completely fine. So take a breath here. And as you exhale, I want you to sweep that top arm down, cross it behind your low back, turning the palm away from you. So the back of the hand is going to rest on your low back. So shift that right shoulder backwards a little bit. So it opens the heart a little more towards the ceiling, just a taste, just a touch. Are we still breathing? How is the quality of your breath here? I know mine always gets kind of tight and short. So maybe this next breath, choose to make your breathing a little smoother. Good. And you can inhale, slide that top arm up from your back to the ceiling. Slide the bottom arm up off your leg and bring the hands back to the hips where they started. Good. Bend your front knee. We're going to lean forward over our front leg. Fingertips to the ground. Lift the back heel and spin the toes forward. Now from here, you're going to shorten your stride. So step that back foot about 2 to 4 inches, I'd say, forward, so that when you lean your hips back, your heel lands. If your heel doesn't land, just scoot your foot forward a little bit more. All right. With the heel heavy, spin the right toes to point maybe an inch towards the right edge of your mat so it's more diagonal. And from there, lift your hands and bring your hands up to your hips. So you're coming up to standing with your hips facing forward. So pull that right hip forward. So it's just about level with your left hip. All right. So from here, go ahead and bring your hands up by your shoulders. The thumbs will point towards your shoulders. Breathe in. And as you exhale, bend your knee and press the palms out like you're forcing the wall farther from you. Take a hold of that invisible object, flip the palms up, straighten your knee, and pull the elbows back to slide past your waistline. We're going to do that twice more. Exhale, bend the knee, press the wall away. You should feel space between your shoulder blades. Grab, flip, pull. Feel warmth between your shoulder blades. We're going to do one more. So stop signs, cross them out. Take a hold, flip them up, pull them back as the knee lengthens. Good. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, arms sweep down in front of you as you bend your front knee. See if you can get your fingertips to tap the mat. Step the back foot to the top so it's alongside the other one that already is at the top of your mat. Soft knees, soft neck. Sway your head yes and no if you want. Roll your wrists if you want. We're going to do the same series on the opposite side. So first, we're going to bend our knees, sink those hips, get them nice and low, snuggle down to the ground, arms reach back horizontally, lift the upper body from the lower body before pressing down through the heels, arms climb high, reach, and relax all the way down. Good. Inhale, back to the beginning. Stretch it up. Exhale, open wide with soft knees. Hinge, slide the hips back, the head forward a little bit, and dangle. And this time it's the left foot that's going to step back behind you. Toes under and bring the knee down to the ground. Now the ground can be padded with a blanket or towel. That's fine. The toes can be tucked or pointed. Either way, the hands are going to come up to the top of the thigh. And for today, we're going to keep the heel maybe half an inch or so in front of your knee. Just so as we glide forward and back, we have a little space to bend our knee while still keeping it above or behind the heel. So go ahead and bring your hands up into those little stop sign hands on either side of your shoulder. Inhale here. And as you exhale, lean forward and you can press the palms away. Grab that invisible object, flip the palms to the sky, and pull it back towards your body, drawing the shoulders back behind you. 2 more stop signs. We press out, grab, rotate, and pull. Last one, stop signs, press away. Take a hold, rotate, and bring it back towards you. Good. Soften the arms, breathe them up. And exhale the arms straight down in front of you. Bring the hands to either side of your front foot. Let the back toes curl under. Let the back knee lift up. And this time the left toes will spin to the left edge of your mat. Drop your heel to the right. All right. Lift your hands up. Open your arms front to back. And bend your front knee towards your pinky toenail in Warrior 2. Good. So make sure your toes are facing down the center line of your mat, not dipping in, not turning too far open, but keeping them as vertical with the edges of your mat as possible. Breathe in here and just softly press your shoulders down a little bit. Yes. The right palm can turn towards the ceiling. Raise it up to point towards the ceiling. And then bend your elbow, pat yourself on the back. Repeat with your back arm. Back palm flips up, arches over your head, catch your shoulder, maybe draw the elbow. Catch your elbow and maybe draw it in a little closer towards the crown of your head. Good. As you settle in here, make sure your knee in front didn't wibble wobble. You still want that arch in the foot, so keep weight through the ball of your big toe, your pinky toe, and your heel, the 3 points of contact. So another breath, in and out. And as you inhale, open your arms to the sky, straighten your front knee, bring your hands to your hips. And we're going to turn the toes towards those opposite corners of the mat so we have diagonal feet. Sweep your arms wide, lift them up, palms facing the same direction as your gaze. Inhale here. Exhale, bend your knees wide, bend your elbows down. Good. Inhale, straighten, lift up. Exhale, do it again. Bend down. See if you can feel the shoulder blades drawing towards one another as you do this. So last time, up. Exhale, down. Bring the shoulder blades towards one another a little bit. Now keep the legs here. Close the elbows and palms in front of you. If your hands are not in front of the natural level of your forehead, let your elbows lift up a bit so that when you kind of slightly tuck your chin, your head will rest on your thumbs. Keep those knees gently pressing apart. Breathe fully into that space between your shoulder blades and your upper back. And the next time you inhale, you can straighten the legs, reach the arms high. And exhale, bring the arms around to rest on the edges of your hips again. So let your left toes point towards the long edge of your mat. Your right toes point towards the short edge of your mat. Make sure your toes are facing forward. Your kneecap mirrors that angle, so it's straight down between the second and third toe is a good place to start. Arms open. Remember, shoulders down. Glide your left hip back. And as you glide your left hip back, glide your right fingertips forward. Like your sit bone, your fingers are reaching the opposite directions of one another. Front hand can come down to the leg. Top arm up. Vaguely over your shoulder. Good. Make sure your belly button is still drawing a little in and zipping upwards. Okay. So from here, let that top hand sweep down and dangle across the low back behind you. The palm will face away from you. Good. A lot of times when we do this, the shoulder will come forward. So once you've got this, draw that shoulder back so it's a little bit more stacked. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be in that general direction. Full breath in and out. Finding the quality of your breath and reshaping it if you want. As we adjust the quality of our breath, the sensations in our body are going to be different. The experience in our mind is going to be different. So go ahead and find your inhalation to reach that top arm up. Slide the bottom hand up and bring both hands to rest on your hips. Once you get back to your hips, bend your front knee. We're going to lean down and plant the hands on either side of the foot. Lift the back heel, pivot on the ball of the foot, and shorten your stance by stepping the back foot a couple of inches towards the top. Test to see if you step far enough forward. So lean the weight of your hips back. And if your heel connects solidly, you're good. If not, scoot your foot forward so the heel does connect. Let the toes pivot open away from you a little bit in a slight diagonal. Hands come up, rest on your pelvis one more time. So pull that left hip gently forward. It's not going to be completely flush with the level of the front hip, but it's in the same direction. Okay. So as you're ready, you can bring your stop signs up to either side of your shoulders. Bend your knee, press the palms forward. You should feel your upper back almost rounding a little bit. Take a hold, flip it to the sky, pull it back as you straighten your leg. Feel the shoulder blades slide towards one another. So as we bend the knee and we push away, we make space across our upper back. And as we grab, rotate, and pull, we create strength. So we're going to do one more like that. These two things counterbalance one another. Press and bend, grab, rotate, and pull. Good. Go ahead and sweep your arms up. And bend your front knee as you let your arms cascade down in front of you. We're just going to place our fingertips on the earth and step the back foot towards the top, standing on the soles of your feet. Again, you can soften the knees as much as you need to let your spine dangle. Any little wiggles or sways. And then let the hips sink lower and lower and lower. Reach the arms back. Let the arms be horizontal to your mat. Lift the upper body off the legs first. Press the feet down second. Open the arms, let them climb high third. And then bring the hands all the way around to the center of your chest. We're going to make our way towards the floor. So inhale up, first thing. Exhale, soft knees, open arms, long spine. And let the crown of your head bow. All right. Step your right foot back. Let the toes curl under. And then send the left foot back to join it so we can take one last down dog. Remember, keep a hefty bend in your knees, especially before you've had a chance to press your palms down, reach your hips back. And you can relax your heels a little bit. It's always very humbling to notice how little they change, but at least you've got length in your spine. Take a full breath in and out, and then let your knees settle down on the mat. Uncurl your toes, and back into child's pose we go. Let the belly come to the thighs. Soften the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the palms, the fingers. Let the head be a heavy weight on the earth. If your head doesn't get to the earth, it's okay. But what you can do instead, one of my favorite adaptations, is to stack your palms one on top of the other so your elbows open side to side like wings. And then rest your head on the back of your hands. You don't have to get your head all the way to the ground in this case to have support. Find 2 breaths, shaping, molding the quality, the texture, the time that it takes to complete a cycle. And go ahead and lift your head. If you have your hands stacked, you can separate them and put the palms flat. We're going to rise up to all fours. Now, as we get here, we're going to lower down onto our bellies. I'm going to do this facing the camera just so you have a good view of where we're going, but you can lay down flat across the length of your mat. So once you get here, turn to your right cheek and let your arms rest wide, a little below shoulder height. Your palms are going to be down on the ground. And just take a moment to kind of soften here into the earth, gazing at your left hand here. And then draw your left hand in towards your shoulder. And as the hand comes closer to the shoulder, you're going to spin the fingers to point in the direction of the crown of your head. So the elbow is kind of bracing you against the earth. Now, the important thing here is to keep the right arm where it is. You want to make sure it's just a hair lower, maybe half an inch lower than shoulder height. It should not be above your shoulder. Because what we're going to do is press into this left palm, lift our shoulder, roll completely onto the side so the legs stack. And once you get here, you're going to bend your knees up towards your belly button. That's going to make it a lot easier. This supporting hand, this left hand, you can pull it in closer to your heart if you want. That'll allow the shoulders to relax a little bit, the elbow to soften. So as you're resting here, you're really getting a nice stretch across the upper chest on the right-hand side. Take 2 breaths here and slow it down. Full, slow, long inhale and exhale. Now, keeping the upper body where it is, go ahead and straighten your legs back out behind you like a long tail. Reach out through your left hand, stretch it back towards that wall. Roll yourself back onto your chest and turn towards the opposite cheek. Ooh, settle in here. Let yourself digest your experience. And we'll repeat it on the opposite side. So looking at your right palm, go ahead and slide it in until it's underneath or close to your shoulder. Remember to keep that left arm a little bit lower than your shoulder height. And then press into that supporting arm, that right hand. Roll onto your left shoulder, roll onto your left hip, and pull the knees up towards your belly button. And then you can slide that right palm in closer to your body if you want. Take a moment or two to choose how your breath feels. And then go ahead and softly lengthen the legs back behind you. Doesn't have to be ramrod straight, but just not so deeply bent. And slide the right palm across the earth, out from underneath your shoulder, into that open space. Stretch it out, roll back onto your heart, and turn to your original cheek. Gratefully hugging the earth. Glad to be back, nice and flat and neutral. So go ahead and pull both hands in underneath your shoulders. Nothing scary. We're just lifting up off our belly. Come onto hands and knees. Again, as you get onto hands and knees, if you want a blanket under your knees, go ahead. We're going to have a little fun, which is always like the scariest words a yoga teacher could possibly say. So we're going to start on your right side. So sweep your right arm wide, turn your shoulders sideways, looking up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, bring your palm down. Flip the palm towards the ceiling and slide the back of the hand under your belly, between your knee and wrist, and bend the left elbow so you come down onto your right shoulder. All right, you really want that right shoulder to be nice and grounded here, especially with where we're going. And this is what it's going to look like. So first of all, keep your hips stacked above your kneecaps. It's really common for your hips to shift in the same direction your bottom hand is reaching. So maybe pull that left hip in a little bit so you really keep your thighs parallel and the weight of your pelvis centered over your knees. All right, you're going to want that balance here because what we're going to do is stretch back through your left leg, reach the leg out long behind you and curl the toes under. Yeah, perfect. So your hips are going to kind of lift and stack a little bit, kind of turning towards the side. So once you're here, you can lift that back leg long, turn the toes so the arch of the foot is parallel to the ground. Right? Kind of cool. Last breath. And exhale, bend that top knee, bring the knee all the way down slowly and mindfully until you're on the earth. Press into your left hand, straighten that elbow. Withdraw the right arm, turn the shoulder sideways the opposite direction, and bring the hand back down to the ground. So we're going to do the same thing on the left. Now you have a roadmap in your head for where we're going. So left arm rises, turn sideways. Exhale, bring the arm down, slide it through, reach it out, and lower. I'm doing mine in the same direction just so you can see from the most helpful angle. So do as I say, not as I do. And then extend your right leg back behind you. The toes will curl under. Make sure your weight is balanced on that supporting knee. Start to pick up the right toes. Raise the heel to hip height and turn the toes so the foot is horizontal to the earth. Like the blade of your pinky toe is going to be parallel towards the ceiling above you. Good. Let it float for a second. And slowly, there's no rush, bend your knee. Bring it down to rest on the mat. And once it lands, root down through your right hand, lift up your shoulders, withdraw the right arm, or my right, your left, turn sideways, And go ahead and put the hand back down on the mat. Good. Go ahead and walk your knees out to the side. We're going to come down to our sit bones. We're just transitioning our foundation. I'm going to grab my blanket. If you want to sit on a blanket, that might be nice for you, but it's also your call, your choice. So as you're here, let's go ahead and stretch the left leg out long and flat. And once this leg is long and flat, we're going to open the right knee to the side here. So take a moment and lengthen up, pressing the crown of your head towards the ceiling. And then hinge forward with a flat back. Notice I said flat back and not straight knee. I know when my back is long and I hinge forward, my straight knee bends a little bit. That's okay. If you find that happening, let that straight knee bend. As long as you keep the length in your spine, let the hands kind of come down comfortably. I don't know about you, but even with the knee bent, I still feel a challenge back here behind my knee. That's why we start doing less so we can ease our way into more compassionately and safely. All right. So as you're here over this, I'm going to say lengthened leg, take a few breaths. And as you start to feel the back of your knee releasing a little bit, sometimes as time passes, this gets less intense. You can slowly start to draw your front toes back, press away through your heel a little bit. That's going to deepen whatever you feel on the underside of your leg. Good. So from here, once you've got a good stretch in your hamstring, you're going to pick up your right hand, cup the curvature of your outer calf, and then look at the placement of the left fingertips on the ground. You're going to trace a wide arc out and back behind you, turning your shoulders sideways and turning the gaze backwards to rotate your spine. Now, if you're feeling a little hunched at all here, you can always slide the hand that's on your leg up towards your knee or towards your thigh, so you're a little bit more vertical. Now, conversely, if you're feeling pretty good, you can slide this hand on your leg down far enough that you can even cup the outer blade of your foot. It's not for everyone. I'm just letting you know you have a lot of room to customize this shape. Keep the belly drawing back and up. Take one more breath. And then exhale, trace those left fingers back to the outside of your calf. Bring the hand to the inside of the leg and walk the hands all the way back up. We're going to do the same thing the opposite direction. So bring that bent knee up, bend the straight knee, and switch sides. So the right knee will be long and the left knee will be open. You can bring the foot in towards the warmth of your leg. It helps if you have cold toes. Inhale, sit up. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Let the knee do whatever. Bring the hands down. Good. As time passes, this will get a little bit more friendly, this experience that you're having. You might not be best friends, but you're going to be able to breathe with it more. The quality of your breath will change around it. So when you find that happening, you can draw your toes back and flex your foot to take the stretch a little bit lower. The heel will slide away from you a little bit as you do that. Yes, good. So lift your left palm, cup the outer calf, the fingernails will point away from you, and watch the right hand as it drifts out in an arc and back behind you. Again, you can slide that bottom hand up so you're sitting a little straighter, or down towards the blade of your left foot, or my left, your right. If that feels a little bit better, belly in and up, whole time, no matter how low or how high you go. And let that backhand trace full circle to where it started. Bring the left hand into the inside of your leg and walk back, sit tall. Bring the knee up, bend the other knee up. Now, if you're on your blanket, you're definitely going to want to come out of it now. We're going to do a couple of poses in our yin sequence. So if you have, I'm going to cue for a towel because I think it's probably a more common prop. We're going to make a roll with it. So you're going to have the towel kind of long. It can be folded in half, so it's not quite as long. And then from there, fold it in half again and roll it up so you have this kind of tube shape. You can do the same thing with the blanket, but this is kind of the shape we're going to make. If you do not have a blanket or a towel, this is just like icing on the cake. This is not the essence of the pose, but it's just going to take it a bit further. So you can do this with or without the blanket. So either way, sit so the blanket roll is behind you. Knees up, feet flat. As you lay down, if you have no blanket roll, just lay down. You're going to be fine. If you have the blanket roll, lay down so the blanket roll catches you above your hips. It'll be in the arch of your low back, but not on your pelvis, yeah? So lay down so the roll underlines your spine and your head can rest on the other end of the roll. If this feels too archy in your back, you can always scoot your hips down so there's more space between your hips and the end of the roll instead of less. That'll just arch higher up in your back. So from here, let your arms open wide and the palms can be towards the ceiling. And if you need to adjust up or down in that roll, take a little bit of time. But whenever you're settled and you're feeling comfortable, you're going to open your knees away from one another and turn the soles of the feet to face one another. Now, normally this is the time where a lot of people would grab some blocks and put under your knees. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. All I'm going to tell you is that as we're moving to the yin portion of our practice, you actually want to have sensation. If you didn't feel any sensation, that would be more restorative. If you feel sensation, that means some deep work is getting done here. That means those deep and tight tissues are being challenged, honestly. And we need challenge in order to change. We need challenge in order to grow. So sometimes in yin, in fact, a lot of times in yin, the challenge is to sit with sensation without running away. And what does running away look like? Well, the most obvious idea would be just moving, getting out of the pose. But even a little shift or tweak can shuffle your body away from the experience. So as you come into a yin pose, I always like to encourage people to take a full 30 seconds or so to wiggle around and really make sure you are safe and you are supported. And then to take the next section of time to commit to being as still as possible. Let gravity work on the weight of your body. And as you notice the sensations within your body changing and deepening, maybe you change the quality of your breathing to cultivate peace, equanimity, acceptance. I'm going to give you a few moments of silence here so you really have a deep inner experience of how this pose reacts within your body. Paying attention to the quality of your breath. Let the breath deepen for a few seconds so you can really allow the breath to fill the expanse of space across your heart and stretch deep into your belly. Moving very slowly. A lot of times after yin poses, the body feels pretty creaky. So go ahead and bring, let's say, your right knee up towards the sky. Turn the right foot face down to the ground. And then bring your left knee up to the sky and your left foot down to the ground. And from here, let's say roll over to your right side. So curl up onto your right hip and shoulder. If you're on a blanket, you're going to come off a blanket. From here, press your hands down into the ground. Walk them back so your shoulders and head rise a little bit. Now, if you have a blanket behind you, what you're going to do is turn that blanket sideways so that when you lay back down on your side, right where we were on the right side, you're going to have a little bit of a pillow. If you don't have a pillow, don't worry about it. But from here, stretch your top leg long so you can see your toenails in front of you. So send the leg out to the side so it's like perpendicular to the angle of your mat. You can put the arch of your foot down on the ground for now, let the sole of the foot catch some air, and start to lower your left shoulder down behind you. So maybe you roll towards your shoulder blades, towards the back of your head, and you can spill that left arm out to the side. Usually this will slide the arch of that left foot a little closer to your body. That's totally fine. So keep the bottom knee bent up snug. So it's almost like the thighs are supporting one another here. Now, if this is really uncomfortable, a really nice thing to do is put a block under that long leg. So I'm going to grab mine just so you can see what that's going to look like. So you can put it under your ankle or your calf or under your foot in any direction. That allows the leg to be a little higher from the ground. And that might make this a little bit more sustainable. If you don't have a block, no worries. Maybe you find a second towel. You've got some time as we're moving into this yin pose. So if you need to get up and go grab something else, maybe even a couch cushion or a bed pillow, tuck it under your foot. Let your left shoulder spill towards the ground behind you, and maybe even roll your gaze in that direction too, away from that elongating knee. And as you rest here, remember you can take those first couple of moments to kind of adjust and wiggle into your body. If that long leg slides down, so it's more diagonal than straight, that's okay. Just make sure the support travels down with you too. And as you come into stillness here, feel how every exhale kind of relaxes you deeper into this sensation, into this twist. Every exhale releases strength and resistance. Every inhale softens you just a little bit extra, making your body a little bit more pliant and receptive to the angles and shapes that it's making right now. Take a little time in silence here to really begin to observe what comes up from within you. Just see where your mind wanders, where your thoughts go. This is a great time to observe your subconscious, because this is usually what it does when you're not paying attention. So take this time to see, to listen. Maybe 3 breaths here. And let the breaths expand a little bit more if you want. And roll towards the back of your head. And from here you can bend the top knee so the knees and ankles stack with one another. You can pick up that back shoulder and roll again fully onto your right side. Just take a moment, maybe take a full breath here. And then lift your head up, lift your shoulders up. And even lift your knees up when you get here. Come to a seat. Face the front of your mat. You can put aside any blocks. You don't need them right now. And I like to set my hips up on that rolled blanket or towel that you've been using. But again, if you don't have one, you don't have to. So open the knees wide like we did before on our back. Let the feet come to face one another. And from here, you can kind of stretch the crown of your head out from your hips and hinge down towards your toe tips. You can bring your hands to your toes or your feet or the mat. And let your shoulders curl forward, let your head bow a little bit. And remember to take the first few moments to kind of adjust around. If you want to move your feet farther out or closer in, you can. Let your neck soften. And it's okay to have your head dangle here unless it feels very uncomfortable. If you don't feel like this is kind of a safe place for your head to be. One thing I like to do is put my elbows kind of on the inside of my shins. And then you can clasp your hands or make prayer hands and just rest your forehead in the top or on the sides of your fingers. If you're pretty close to your feet, you can always do the same thing, but maybe grab one of your blocks and put it under the the forehead. So you can bow the crown forward and rest on that. Or you can always, again, just dangle and let gravity make some space between your vertebrae. We're just going to take a few minutes to breathe here. Surrender to whatever sensations arise within you. A lot of times, if you spend time just observing your sensations, you'll notice that they kind of have an arc to them. Like some things will rise and get more intense and more apparent, and just when you think you should probably start to get worried, they'll start to fade, and you'll start to notice strong sensations in a different place in your body. And that will start to rise and rise until it worries you, and then it starts to fade. You can always change the quality of your breath to help yourself through those times. You can change what you feel here by deepening your breathing or pretending you can send it to different parts of your body. Maybe for 5 breaths, choose to send your inhale into different places. Maybe first inhale is under your right shoulder blade. Breathe it out. Maybe the second inhale is to that space below your left shoulder blade. Maybe the third one's towards the back of your heart. The fourth one can be to your right low back. And the last one can be to your left low back. That's where the space is being made anyways. And as you're ready, slowly begin to roll your spine backwards and upwards. Take your time, lifting the weight of your head last until you come to seated. Bringing your knees up, your feet flat. And for our very last pose, we'll scoot off the towel if you have it. And roll over this time onto your left side, curling up with knees bent onto your left shoulder. Rest on your left cheek. And stretch out your right leg straight out in front of your gaze so you can see your toenails. And bring that leg up so it's perpendicular to your mat. Rest on the inner edge of your foot. And let your right shoulder lower back down behind you. Turning your collarbones towards the ceiling, rolling towards the back of your head, and letting the arms spill out. Again, if this is really challenging, find that pillow block rolled blanket, put it under your inner ankle so the leg can be more horizontal. If you need to lower the angle of the leg to allow yourself to breathe easier, that's okay too. Spill your gaze over towards the right. Give yourself some time to fine tune. Find a place where stillness is okay. Sure, there's feeling, sure, there's sensation, sure, you're having an experience, but no sensation or feeling is so loud that it's ringing any warning bells in your mind. Just a few more moments here. Let your breath expand if you'd like. You can gently bring your head back to center. And let your long leg bend so the angles of the knees are the same. And from here, just lift your knees. Roll onto your back. If you have the blanket under your neck, by all means leave it there, or you can slide it away and put it to the side. You can clear any space that you need to allow you to stretch your legs out if that's comfortable for Shavasana. Or again, you can always keep the knees bent or find a pillow or blanket to put under the backs of your knees. Take up as much room as you want to allow your body to feel spacious and easeful. Make all your movements that you need to feel grounded and stable and supported. It's a balance between the two. We want space, but we also want solidity. Allowing your eyes to close as you sink towards your stillness. Let every part of you soften. Maybe starting on the outside. How soft can you make the crown of your head? About your forehead or temples, eyes or jaw or tongue. Is there any room for softness in your throat, or your shoulders or your arms, palms or fingers? Relax the front of your chest and the belly and all the way down your back to your hips. Let them soften as the legs melt down through the thighs, the knees, the calves, the ankles. Soften your feet and toes. Soften the quality of your breathing. Soften the quality of your mind. Give yourself a few moments to let that softness spread from body to mind to breath to heart, from heart back to body. Allowing the softness in all layers to influence, to deepen the softness in the other layers. As you allow your body to melt into ease and into peace. As your breathing deepens, let that also deepen the awareness of your body. You feel the inhale spread your rib cage. Begin to stretch your belly. Feel the opening as you breathe in and the releasing as you breathe out. Take a few rounds of ever deepening breath and maybe move your fingers and toes if you want. And move your wrists and ankles. And from there, if you'd like, you can stretch your legs forward, your arms back. You can flex and point your feet. And then relax your body back down. Bend the knees, feet flat. And last time, you can begin to move into an upright seat. If that means rocking up and down or rolling to your side, you can choose your own journey as you lift up from the earth. And bring a support under your hips if you'd like. You can always unroll the blanket or towel you were using, make a little cushion, sit upright once more, cross the legs, and bring the palms to meet. Let the eyes close one more time. And just feel the quality of your breath right here. Does it feel any different? Does it feel any better? We'll close with our chant for peace. You can join in or listen, depending on your comfort level, but breathe in deeply when you're ready. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and that freedom for all. Raising the thumbs to your forehead, honoring the light within one and all as we bow forward to the mantra, Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me again today. I hope you enjoyed the session. Hope you enjoyed your maybe first experience with yin, and I hope you have enough interest to join us again for another yin yang class in the future. Hope you stay healthy, hope you stay safe, and hope to see you again in person really, really soon.